Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Tuesday, November the 5th, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, Matt Robinson with you, breaking down the Tuesday NHL slate. Massive card tonight, 11 games on the docket. Obviously, in the United States, it's election day. It's just funny to me that the NBA is taking the night off, saying, hey, we got to take the night off for the election. And NHL is like, fuck democracy. Let's keep going, boys. We got a full slate tonight. No nights off for us. Who that gives a shit about who's going to be sitting in the Oval Office? We've got 11 games here tonight in the NHL. All systems go for a full NHL slate, despite it being election night. Last night we had just the two games. Lots of fights, by the way. I like to see the animosity in that Kings-Predators game. It was pretty cool. What I didn't like to see was the Kings winning. I did take a little piece of Nashville. It was not a great night at all. I mean, other than a small bet New Jersey money line, I don't think I hit anything other pretty much side total or player prop. Disappointing night, but credit to the Kings. Very nice road win last night in that one, getting the job done against the Nashville Predators. System malfunction. Unfortunately, last night with the system play, which was Devils-Oilers first period, full game over. Devils off a shutout. Neither one hits. Kind of some leveling off, some regression with the system, but it's still a very, very strong 15-6 first period overs. 13 and 5 now, full game overs, excluding pushes. It's still been great. We've had a couple of setbacks here with the last couple of days, including Vancouver, San Jose on Saturday night, which was a system play. But hey, you're going to have that. It's not going to continue to be churning along at 90%. You got to stick with it. It's still way up as far as plus units and profit on the season. So, but credit to the Devils. Great bounce back for them. They got shut out by Calgary. They turn around and they shut out the Edmonton Oilers last night by a score of 3-0 in that game. So it's absolutely great to see the Devils bounce back there. Edmonton, hey, maybe they do need that McDavid guy after all. People getting a little, of course, I was saying it jokingly that no McDavid, no problem. But obviously last night, their first loss without Connor McDavid since he's been out due to injury. But credit to Jake Allen, too. Very solid in net for the New Jersey Devils. Played a really strong road game, 3-0. Devils get the win. Alex, any brief thoughts on what we saw last night?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the system, play having a couple of losses, and there are going to be setbacks, especially when you start off as hot as the system did. But one thing that's going to be interesting, and we'll take a look at it, it pops up in part of one of the systems tonight. But also now set up a second scenario for tomorrow is that you've had teams with back-to-back shutouts. So now that's something that's going to be interesting. We saw where Seattle was able to cash the first period part of the system against Boston. Yep. Didn't cash the full game, but they were shut out. So now they come back tonight against Colorado. But we had that yesterday where Edmonton getting shut out. So now we'll see how that. So that's could be another, could be a leg of the system that develops into something else. Like I said, when you have something of this nature and then you try and offshoot from it, the thing is to look at it completely clear. So we're not looking for overs still with the next trend. Off the back-to-back shutout could mean we see something with an under. It could mean that we see that team win. So looking at something else within a system doesn't necessarily mean we stay with the same style of play. Doesn't have to be a total. We could find something that could end up leading to a side, a derivative side, or some other kind of proper or play that comes out of the back-to-back legs of shutouts.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, let's see if we can find a new system. System play 3 coming up out of what we see tonight, maybe, with that Seattle-Colorado game. Because now this is the first time I think we've seen, well, maybe some other team has been shut out in back-to-back games, perhaps. But since we've been tracking this, we have not seen a team shut out in back-to-back games, which Seattle has been, of course. Ottawa and Boston, they get blanked in both games over the weekend. So now we'll see what the reverberating result is emanating from a game following back-to-back shutout losses tonight for the Seattle Kraken. Good to have Matt back with us as he is every Tuesday and Thursday. Matt, anything you want to say about last night?
Yeah, nothing too crazy from my end. I caught a little bit of both games. Obviously saw that Big Steph had 2 goals. A couple people tagged me in that. So good to see him scoring. I wasn't on him last night. I had a busy Monday work-wise, so didn't really get it a lot in betting-wise. But, I don't know how many of his goals this season have been first goals, but I can think of at least 3 or 4 of them. So, maybe not a bad look if you do have a feeling it's going to be a Stephen Nason type of night. Sprinkle a little on that first goal as well, because obviously those have some huge payouts. So, overall, obviously not the most exciting nights. 3-0 both games. Neither of them were, 1-goal games, OT, high scoring. It was just, a standard two-game Monday slate. But as you mentioned earlier, 11 games tonight. So I'm sure we'll have some good ones on the docket. So excited to get into it.
And get into it we will. We'll begin with Calgary and Montreal. We've got the Flames -145 road favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game between these two teams. Calgary's just it for me with their totals, especially. They're a hard team to figure out. They've actually gone 8-4 to the under this year. The polar opposite for Montreal, 8-4 to the over. So you got one team that's trended under, one team that's trended over. Kind of has me off this total. Don't know which way to go with it. Montreal been an over machine. And then the 6-3 loss was kind of the breaking point against Washington for Marty St. Louis. He kind of gave them a bag skate, which he has not done a lot since he's been a head coach of the Canadiens, but said, hey, we got to shape up defensively. We can't be, giving up 6 goals, 8 goals like they did in those back-to-back losses to the Kraken and the Capitals. They played a lot better against Pittsburgh. In fact, they outshot the Penguins 26-23. They do end up on the losing end of a 3-1 game, though, to the Penguins. Give Nedeljkovic credit, because the Habs were swarming the Penguins for the majority of the third period and just couldn't put one past the Penguins, who have suddenly played a couple of better defensive games lately. They lose that one 3-1. Now they're back home here tonight against Calgary. Calgary starting a road trip and off that loss in the Battle of Alberta to the McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers were able to get the win there. Dustin Wolf confirmed in net tonight for the Flames. Samuel Montembeault for the Montreal Canadiens. I do like the Habs side just a little bit here, coming off in this game at +125. Nothing significant, but I just feel with Calgary now, the price is getting up there on them, -145. And we are kind of seeing signs that, great start to the season. Big surprise that the Flames started as well as they did. But laying $1.45 on the road with a team that's now 1-5 in their last 6 games is not something I'm excited about. So I'm going to take a small shot here, Montreal, to get the card rolling. Alex, what do you think here, Flames, Habs?
Yeah, I'm back in the Habs too, because I was torn in this game this morning, because I was looking, and like I said, seeing Calgary taking money certainly pushed me off of the Flame side. And this is one of those games where it could be kind of close enough. I might sprinkle in the draw. I don't love the draw here, but it was the reason that I couldn't take Calgary regulation. So now I'm looking toward Montreal, like you said, with the bag skate. That's usually something, and I can see where this is the kind of group to respond to the bag skate, right? Like sometimes if you do that with an older veteran group, that it may rub them the wrong way. That may not get you may not get the right which has the right response the next game from that. Where here with this younger core, I could see this kind of giving them a spark. Being at home as a dog, and that's kind of the spot where we like to back Montreal anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Habs here as a home dog.
Big improvement defensively for them against Pittsburgh. Even though they lost 3-1, you could tell they were buying into the coach, saying enough of this crap with the lackadaisical play in their own zone, and they certainly played a lot better defensive effort, in my opinion, there on Saturday against Pittsburgh. If they play like they did against Pittsburgh, I think they win this game, because they certainly, I think, played well enough to win that one. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Calgary, Montreal.
I think just given the goaltender situation for both teams, at least who's confirmed tonight, I think there's a good chance we see some goals in this game. I think both teams, need to come out and score some goals. So I'm going to I don't love it at 6.5. So I'm going to go with the same game parlay, the first period.
Robinson special. That's the Matty special now. Over 1.5 and over 5.5. Yeah.
Yep. So I think I'll keep it simple. Hope for 2 goals early, and then hope we get, at least a 4-2 type game. I do agree that I think both teams are playing a little tighter. Obviously, Calgary getting that win against New Jersey a couple games back. 3-0, I think, was the score. Coleman actually had 2 in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So the Plano alumni are playing well right now. But so But yeah, I think, both of these teams, I think Montreal at home, I like that look. So I may sprinkle a little on them just given the value that you get there. But I think my main play is going to be the same game parlay.
Yeah, Huberdeau went back in Quebec, playing in Quebec. There's something to that. Maybe that gets him going a little bit here again. And he has played well in the past against Montreal. I don't argue with that. Zary, in my opinion, on the top line, there's some value. Pospisil as well on the top line for Calgary. A little bit of value there as well. So keep an eye on that. Cole Caulfield's been absolutely incredible, as we know, for the Montreal Canadiens. He's never a bad bet as far as a goal prop, especially considering what he's been able to do. But let's give some credit to a couple other players, including Gallagher. Like I said, he's actually tied for second on the team in goals with 4. It's a big drop-off. It's funny. Caulfield's got 10, and then Suzuki and Gallagher are tied for second in the NHL or on the team in goals with 4. So definitely, it's definitely worth noting how important Cole Caulfield's been to the Montreal Canadiens. Like I said, big drop-off after that. All right, Philadelphia, Carolina. We've got the Hurricanes minus 310. Holy mackerel. Huge favorites in this game. The total 6 in this matchup. The Canes keep on rolling along. Pretty impressive. 8-2 now. 3-1 at home, but 8-2 overall. 6-game win streak. They take care of the red-hot Washington Capitals. That was a tough spot for Washington. They were on the back-to-back. But Carolina gets the 4-2 win in that game. Kochetkov in net. This is Kochetkov's net now for the foreseeable future because Freddie Anderson, shocker, out again due to an injury for this Carolina team. Just can't believe that's possible. But, nevertheless, Carolina's just rolling along nicely, playing well. See if that continues here tonight against the Flyers, who just continue to be up and down like a roller coaster. They have that bad losing streak, snap it against Minnesota, lose to Montreal, bounce back and win a couple in a row against Boston and St. Louis. And then they end up dropping a 3-0 shutout loss to the Boston Bruins in their last game on Saturday afternoon. Worth noting, Ersson got injured in that game for the Philadelphia Flyers, left that game. Kolosov had to take over, and we're not big Kolosov fans on this show. Not at all. And in fact, any goalie not named Sam Ersson is fade material, in my opinion. Kolosov hasn't been good. We obviously know that Fedotov wasn't good. That's why he's not there right now at the moment. Kolosov, 3.27 goals against average, 870 save percentage is what he's got going into this matchup against Carolina. Hurricanes, looking like at their schedule, they play Pittsburgh next. Don't really consider that much of a look ahead. 4-8, 4-4-4. 5 of the 6 games on this win streak for the Canes. They've scored at least 4 goals. Pretty simple, straightforward call here for me. Carolina team total over 3.5, around -130, -140. I think it's one of those situations where until Kolosov shows me some better goaltending, Tortorella can say all the right things. They could try to defend better in front of the goalie, which they've been doing. Philadelphia's had a couple of nice defensive games here, but this goaltender still worries the hell out of me for Philadelphia. Anyone not named Ersson in net right now for Philadelphia worries me. So I like Carolina team total over, and this is system play in effect. So I am on first period over, full game over 6 as well with the Flyers and the Hurricanes. Again, the system play in effect. Flyers off that shutout loss to Boston on Saturday. All right, Alex, what do you think? Flyers and Canes?
Yeah, nothing on the side. I get people in the chat taking a flyer, pun intended, on the Flyers at +250 because that's just a high price. And yeah, Carolina's not going to win every game, but I'm not trying to step in front of the Canes right now. I'm going with the first period over heavier. Also, we'll have that over 6. I'm playing over 6 small to try to get some 5.5 in game. So that's my plan of attack here. So we're riding the system play, but full unit on the over in the first period, half or quarter unit. Kind of going maybe toward quarter unit on that over 6, and then I can throw another quarter unit on over 5.5 in game.
I mean, if you actually put this line out there as Carolina -310, Philly +250, and you tell me Samuel Ersson's in net and he's healthy and he's in net, I actually don't think it's a bad idea to look at Philadelphia. Right. He's been great. Ersson's really been good the last few starts, but this Kolosov, man, I'm not liking it at all. He's all over the place. He has trouble tracking pucks. It's a problem right now. If Ersson's out, good luck for Philly. They're in some trouble.
We got to pump our brakes even with Ersson too, because as good as he looked, it's magnified because of how bad the backups are, right? Like it's the same thing. We talk about Peter Mrazek. Peter Mrazek, as good as he looked, we'll talk about the Hawks, but obviously his numbers will always, and his form will always look better because the guys that were below him weren't good. There's several teams with these examples. So Arison's good. He's the best of the options, but it's not like he's all of a sudden a top 15 goalie in the league either.
No.
It's just that he's leaps and bounds better than these two guys they'd have, backing him up.
We are going heads up against some strong series trending history to the under with these two teams. 4 straight unders with the Flyers and the Hurricanes. But the system play is in effect, and when the system play is in effect, we bet it. Simple as that, regardless of anything else. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Flyers, Canes.
This one, I'm just gonna go with the system play on the first period. I love the Canes in this spot. I'm not gonna lay 310, obviously.
No.
And I see the puck lines like still minus 120, minus 125. Those always scare me when it's a minus puck line. It could be a 4-2 game. Philly scores with 8 seconds left. You lose, even though Carolina, might have been up 4-1, and then, Philly made it 4-2. So you can have a team sort of dominate a game and win by 1. So I agree with you on the team total, but I mean, I'm seeing it like minus 150. I think I'm going to keep it simple. Just do the system play. That'll be my only bet on this one. First period over.
All right, first period over. Yeah, I like the full, again, over by Fecta for me, with it being the system play. Carolina team total over 3.5, which is, again, a pretty reasonable price. By the way, I do want to point out Philly did win in Carolina last year. You have to go all the way back for that one last year to Carter Hart being in net last November. November 15th, 2023, Carolina did get a win, or Philly did get a win in Carolina 3-1 with Carter Hart in net. And of course, Carter Hart, we ain't going to be seeing him anytime soon. Let's put it that way. As far as this one, though, like I said, we'll have to see how it plays out. Kolosov is a concern, and it's a concern until Arison gets back, in my opinion. I get why they're going to Kolosov, because I think Fedotov might be even worse, quite honestly. Right now. Now, I'm not saying these guys can't eventually be good, but they're not at the place right now where it appears to me they're ready to be in the NHL. All right, Ottawa and Buffalo. We've got the Ottawa Senators minus 115 road favorites. The total 6 pretty much across the board here in this game. Ottawa playing better, but here's the thing. I initially thought I got to be on Ottawa here. Buffalo's lost a couple in a row. They're starting to skid. Again, I like what the Senators have done. They should have beat the Rangers. They outplayed the Rangers. They shut out Seattle on the weekend. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Sens. I'm probably going to be on the Senators, right? But I don't like their road record. They just have the one road win this year, the Ottawa Senators, and that does concern me here about taking the Sens in this game. So I'm only on the first period over here, slightly smaller on the full game over. So it's an over by Fecta, but it's tilted to the first period over with, again, Ottawa, pretty strong first period over team this season. I think that's got a chance to continue. And the Sens and Sabres did play a lot of games last year where they scored goals. Now, again, Travis Green's here now with the Sens. We know that. New coaching staff trying to play a little bit better defensively. They have upgraded their goaltending with Linus Ullmark in net, expected, of course, to get the start tonight. But I did bet the not the full game, the over by Fecta here. A little more on the first period over than the full game over. I lean Ottawa. I do. I think they're the better team right now, but I don't like that road record enough to lay a price with them here in this spot. And the Sabres are off a couple of losses, hungry, chomping at the bit. So that was enough to keep me off Ottawa, but I do lean Sens a little bit. Alex, what do you think here? Sens, Sabres.
Yeah, I'm on this first period over too. I got minus 126 at FanDuel. Last 4 meetings have flown over in the first period. 2-1, 3-1, 2-2, and a 5-0 spot in the last meeting. So like I said, slight lean to Ottawa. But these are two teams that it's hard to kind of really gauge sidewise. And like I said, cheap price. You could probably wait, and this goes back and forth. You can probably get something, whichever side you like. Could probably find a plus price next to them betting in game. So I'm just going to go in first period over and then maybe look for something live during the contest.
Good stuff. All right, Matt, anything for you here? Ottawa, Buffalo.
This will be another same game parlay because I love the first period over. I feel like I've had some good luck with both these teams on the first period over. And I think if we do get at least 2 in that first period, maybe we get lucky with 3 or 4. Getting to 5.5 is not going to be an issue. So, probably not my most exciting game to watch tonight or anything like that, but I could see this being a 4-3 type of game. I'm sort of at a toss-up on who I would take from a sides perspective, so I'll just be on the overs. So similar to an over by Fecta, just throwing them in the same bet.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. But like I said, I definitely like the form of Ottawa better. I just don't like the way things have gone for them on the road. Now, some of those road games were tough opponents. I totally get that. But like I said, when you only have one road win and now you're a road favorite, it's not exactly. That's exactly why I'm staying off the Sens, even though I'm leaning in that direction. Tim Stützle, Ridley Gregg, on the top line. I think those two players might be worth a look for the Ottawa Senators. We've talked about that. They have put that young kid, Adam Gaudette, it goes without saying. You just have to bet Adam Gaudette right now as far as goal props. It's been remarkable what he's been doing, and he's only playing on the bottom six, and he's still been able to make an impact. They've got this. They called up from Belleville, and there's some real potential. This guy's going to be a good player in this league. 21 years old, Zach Ostapchuk, here for the Ottawa Senators, and they really like him. He's played 3 games now since his call-up. Only the 1 point, but keep an eye on him. He's going to maybe strike and hit the score sheet at some point. He's got really, really good skills with the puck. Zach Ostapchuk here for the Ottawa Senators. So good stuff as far as value potentially with him. For the Buffalo Sabres, it looks like tonight they might have Zach Benson back. He's been out for a period of time. They might get him back here for this game. We've talked about how Ryan McLeod and Jason Zucker are 2 players that even though they're down on the third line, they're a little bit undervalued. So I think there's some value with both of those guys playing on the third line. Zucker's picked it up offensively lately, and McLeod obviously has given them a little bit of a punch from the bottom 6 as well so far this season. All right, we move along. It's Boston and Toronto. The Bruins and Leafs, they just met in Boston recently. It was a Bruins overtime win against the Leafs. More misery for Toronto against Boston. But Toronto minus 125, home favorites tonight, 5.5 the total. We almost had Jim Montgomery getting his pink slip about a couple of games ago, and now all of a sudden his team has shut out the opponent in back-to-back games. Wins over the weekend versus Philly and Seattle, and back-to-back shutouts for the Bruins. So solid stuff. Signs that maybe they're getting their game back a little bit. Lost in the I guess the good vibes and the joy and the positivity of Boston notching that second consecutive shutout on the weekend against Seattle on Sunday was David Pastrnak, stapled to the bench for the entire third period by Jim Montgomery. Didn't see a shift. Not happy with his play away from the puck. So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of response we get from Pastrnak here tonight. And that's where Jim Montgomery's had the issue with him. Obviously, he's still been able to find the back of the net, although he hasn't been on fire like we've seen at times in the past. But it's his play away from the puck that's been lacking a little bit. And it was cause enough for Jim Montgomery to sit Pastrnak down for that third period. So fascinating to see what kind of performance we get here tonight from him in this game. For Toronto, the big news is Austin Matthews is out, scratched for this game, out due to a upper body injury is what we're hearing. So Matthews won't play. To be honest, Matthews has not been firing on all cylinders yet this year for the Leafs. So, yeah, they miss him, but you're not getting Matthews in peak form right now the way he started his season. Craig Berube is opting to plug Max Domi into that top-line center spot with Mitch Marner and Matthew Nyes. I actually like the move because Domi struggled. Domi has not had a great start offensively to his season at all. He's been gripping his stick too tightly, I think. He's missed some great chances. Still doesn't have a goal yet this year and only 6 assists. Maybe getting him with Nyes and Marner is a good way to get him going here tonight in this game for the Leafs. So, and remember, they experimented at center with Max Domi in the first-round series against this Boston team last year, and he played pretty well when they put him into that spot. So maybe this is just the cure that's going to the cure that fixes what ails Max Domi a little bit, giving him this opportunity on the top-line center position. You can't break up Pacioretty, Tavares, and Nylander with the way they've played. That line stays intact, and then pretty much status quo with your bottom 6 here as well for the Leafs tonight. I'm going to take a shot with Toronto here tonight. It's a discount now. Everyone is poured in on Boston now with Matthews out going into this game. I think it's a little bit of a discount now on the Leafs. I know they've had miserable time of it against Boston, but Boston shutting out Seattle, who's now been blanked in 2. And remember, Seattle got shut out by Ottawa. So it's, Boston blanking them is nice, but how impressive is it when Seattle also got shut out by Ottawa? And then you factor in that the other team they shut out is Philly, and Philly's been a erratic mess throughout the course of the season as well. Toronto felt they could have beaten Boston in Boston a few that previous meeting earlier this year. First game without Matthews. You know how sometimes they rally the troops. Look at what the Oilers did without McDavid in that first game when he was absent. And the Oilers rallied and got a win with McDavid out for that first game against Nashville. I could see Toronto winning this. I think you're getting a little bit of a discount now. So I'm going to take Toronto minus 125. I'm also going to take the draw. There's no way I can pass up the draw in this game. All these two teams do is play close games. The previous meeting in Boston went to overtime just over a week ago, 4-3 Bruins. 3 of the last 4 meetings, if you combine the postseason and the regular season, have gone past regulation. So Leafs and the draw for me here with the Bruins and the Leafs tonight. And I do have a prop that I really, really like in this game quite a bit. And I'm going to save it because it's actually going to be my best bet on the show. You heard it. I'm breaking news right now. A rare player prop, best bet for me on the show today. We need to shake it up because the best bets have been hit a bit of a downturn. We're shaking it up today. There's a best bet from this game player prop that I like. Matt, what do you think here? Boston, Toronto.
So we're actually on the same page here. I think I lean Toronto here. I know Boston, went to Philly, got the low scoring 3-0 shutout win, and then, Jack Edwards night on Sunday against Seattle. I'm not buying it. I still think that they are in a tough position as far as, their long-term for the season. I think, a light couple wins doesn't sell me that they're back or that they're, in good form or anything like that. So I lean Toronto here. I do agree that Matthews being out gives it a little better value, and I don't think he being out is that big of a deal. I mean, you saw Edmonton where McDavid has been playing well. He gets hurt, and then they go on a little bit of a heater in their next couple of games. So I don't think Matthews being out is life-changing for this team, and it is in Toronto. So obviously there's history between these teams. No one's going to need help getting motivated for this game, but I just think Toronto's in better form overall. So I'm going to take the Leafs here. And then I have a prop on this game that will be bargain bin that I'll bring up a little bit later. So, yeah.
All right, there we go. Alex, back with us. What do you like here, Bruins, Leafs?
I'm just keeping it simple with this. I'm on the draw pregame. I grabbed that yesterday, plus 340. That's rinse and repeat kind of play with these two teams. But also, I like the first period over in game. I'm not playing anything pregame. I'm kind of getting in Ian mode. I'm going to get greedy here and wait for a big plus price. I'm looking for plus 120 or better. I think we can wait almost halfway through the period before we get goals here. So if we're looking at either 1.5 at a big plus price, or even looking at a over 1 or a half goal in game. So this is when I have big time circle, especially with no Matthews. I think the pace is slower early, but then we could see, like I said, these are rivals. It gets physical. We could see a power play pop up, and there'll be time, I think, where we can get a much better adjusted price and or number in the first period.
Yeah, definitely. It's a possibility. We see that for sure. I'm going to save the prop. Actually, other than I have a best bet for the show in this game as a player prop. And like I said, I don't do player props very often for best bet, but this is one that I like today. But other than that, I will mention Nyes is worth a look here in this game again. I think Max Domi, goal and an assist. I'm going to sprinkle on both. Max Domi goal, Max Domi assist. I think maybe just, and this is the coach saying, we believe in you, man. You've had a tough start to the year offensively, of course. 0 goals, 6 assists. But now with Marner and Nyes, top line center opportunity. I think that's just the vote of confidence that maybe Max Domi needs to get rolling here. No question. So I like that buy low here on a guy that's been struggling here with this opportunity that he's now going to get due to Matthews being out of the lineup. Pacioretty I like too as far as value because he's played well since playing with Tavares and Nylander. All right, next up we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders. Islanders minus 130, home favorites in this game. The total sitting at 6 across the board. The Pittsburgh Penguins, where's their defense suddenly come from? I mean, a couple of games now where we've seen some better defensive play from this Pittsburgh Penguins team. We'll see if that can carry over here into tonight against the New York Islanders. The Islanders, meanwhile, they've been all over the map this year. 4-8 is the perfect record for the New York Islanders. They're only 1-4 here at UBS Arena, so this place has not been very friendly here to the New York Islanders. They're off the 5-2 loss to the Rangers. They are just 2-5 in their last 7 games. The wins were against New Jersey in overtime, and then Buffalo on the road. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd be closer to betting Pittsburgh in this game than the Islanders. And I haven't been high at all, as you know, on the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. But they have won 2 in a row. The Islanders are just never a team I'm comfortable laying a price with as a favorite. I know it's only -130, but 1-4 at home and laying -130 with how erratic this team has been, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking the Islanders. So I lean Penguins. I don't think I'm betting a side, though. I'm not that giddy about betting Pittsburgh, but if you forced me to bet a side in this game, I would lean Penguins a little bit. Nedeljkovic in net for the Penguins. Sorokin confirmed for the New York Islanders. For Sorokin, it's 2.29 goals against, 922 save percentage. The numbers are all right, but unfortunately the results are not there currently for Sorokin. There's been games where they haven't scored for him. He hasn't played that bad, but again, problems consistently getting the puck in the net. That being said, there's been no problem getting pucks in the net with these two teams head-to-head. Coming into tonight, 7-1-2 to the over, believe it or not, in the last 10 meetings between the Islanders and the Penguins coming into this one. So I'm going to go full game over. That's the only side or total I have in this game. I'm going to also sprinkle on the draw in this one as well. We do have some signs that point to this game being close. In last 2 meetings last year, both of them were 5-4 Islanders. One of them did go to overtime. We've seen the Penguins go to overtime or a shootout twice in the last 6 games. Obviously, this Islanders team has actually cooled off the overtime or shootout games for the last little bit. But I think it's one of those games where I don't see separation for either side. So a little over 6 and a little draw for me with Penguins Islanders. Alex, what do you think here? Pittsburgh, New York Islanders.
Yeah, I'm on the over by factor here with a sprinkle in the draw. It's not one of my favorite draws. I mean, even with the Islanders, this has still been a series that for years going way back was always really close and really tight. But we've seen some kind of outlier kind of final scores that kind of scare me off of this to the point where playing it like a full half unit or full unit kind of look. So it'll be a small spot on the small sprinkle rather on the draw. But the spots that I like more will be the first period over. I grabbed that -125. We've seen a lot of high scoring early in games and then kind of taper off. But I do like that over 6. So shop around because I'm seeing some books go to 6.5. You can still get over 6 -$1.15 at BetMGM and Caesars.
All right, what do you like here, Matt? Pittsburgh, New York Islanders.
This one's tough because, I feel like the Islanders for a stretch there were not a team I would take the over on. And Pittsburgh was a team that I was taking overs on. I think I was going to consider passing on this one, but I think after you broke down series history, I think you said 7-2-1 to the over.
Yep.
Something
7-1-2.
like that.
It's actually only 1 loss, 2 pushes, 7 overs in the last 10 meetings. Yep.
So I think that's going to force me to do another SGP first period over and then full game over at 5.5. Hopefully we get to that 6 because I have a feeling those 2 pushes were 6. So that's really 9-1 to the over if you get it in at 5.5. So that'll probably be my only play on this one. Again, it was going to be a pass. I don't really know. I mean, I lean Islanders. Pittsburgh has picked it up just a touch. They're on a 2-game win streak. I don't know. So I'm going to stay off the sides and just take a little SGP here.
Raquel, Drew O'Connor, Cody Glass repair, Cody Glass replace for the Pittsburgh Penguins is on the second line now for them. So a little bump up the lineup. That's why I see the value showing. Siplikov for the Islanders. Lee and Pajot are up with Horvat, with Barzal still out, and Duclair still out, of course, too. So keep that in mind. And yes, they're banged up on the blue line. Excellent point. Romanov's out. Mike Riley's out. Adam Pelech can just never stay healthy. This guy, I worry about him as far as longevity in the NHL. I mean, it's just one injury after another for him. He's a solid stay-at-home defenseman, and he just can't stay on the ice for the Islanders. Once again, it is. They got Isaiah George. That's another thing that I think helps the over. Isaiah George and Grant Hutton are your third pairing called up for the New York Islanders tonight on that blue line. So after, and they've got Dennis Cholowski here with Dobson, Pullock, and Mayfield. So there's a lot of new faces on that blue line. It's not only chemistry, it takes time to gel. when you put a bunch of new faces in on the blue line, but it can lead to mistakes, breakdowns in communication, and all of that's probably good for the over moving forward in games where you see, again, massive change on the blue line, like what we're seeing right now for the New York Islanders. All right, Tampa Bay Lightning and St. Louis Blues. Tampa Bay minus 170, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Really do love this spot for Tampa off back-to-back losses to Minnesota and Winnipeg. Two really good two teams that have obviously played very well. So I don't think we can shame Tampa Bay for losing those 2 games against the Wild and the Jets the way Winnipeg and Minnesota have played. But there is, it's not a cheap price, minus 170, and news today that Braden Point will not play tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That being said, I really think they get right here. This is a team, especially for years, we've talked about this. They usually stop losing streaks before they get out of hand. And now they've lost a couple against very good teams. And to be honest, 2 teams that are better than the St. Louis Blues. So I think it's a great opportunity for the Lightning to bounce back. I'm going to take a shot with Tampa first period puck line here. I mean, I don't love the minus 170. I like the team total a little bit. I'll probably dabble in the Lightning team total over as well. But I think that what I like the most, especially value-wise, is that Tampa Bay first period puck line. You're now off 2 straight losses. You want to have a good start here in this game. And let's be honest about St. Louis. Even though they did beat Toronto in their last game, they were actually trailing after the first period, 1-0 to the Leafs in that game. So if you took Toronto first period puck line against St. Louis, which I did, you would have cashed. And that is another reason why I think tonight, maybe another slow start for the Blues. They did not play a good first period against Toronto, and then they played a very good second and third to win that game. I think with Tampa off those 2 losses in a row, you get a good effort out of the gate. And again, Point being out hurts. But again, how many times do we see the team step up? So really like that value of Tampa. It's my favorite bet on this game. Tampa Bay first period puck line, -0.5, plus 165 right now at DraftKings. I'll also get in a little bit on that team total for the Lightning here in this one. I like the first period puck line, though, a lot more. Alex, what do you think here? Lightning, Blues.
All right, I've done this before and it cashed in nicely, so I'm going to tail you on this. I'm going to go quarter unit on that first period puck line with Tampa Bay, and then I'm taking the rest of that unit and going amongst these 3 correct scores in the first period. Tampa 1-0 plus 450, Tampa 2-0 plus 10-1, and Tampa Lightning 2-1 at 12 plus 1200.
All right, there you go. Correct score. And I remember you hit one of these with the Utah game recently.
Yep.
In the first period, and it ended up playing out quite well. Value with Mitchell Chaffee here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. 3 goals in the last 6 games, and now because of the injury to Point, he's playing with Nick Paul and Jake Gensel. That's your second line right now. Kucherov, Cirelli, and Hagel currently your top line. So, like I said, I like the looks here for Mitchell Chaffee. Hagel now on the top line. He's played well. For the St. Louis Blues, it looks like tonight we've got Dylan Holloway up with Shannon Kyrou. Dylan Holloway, to me, is definitely someone I think that we've targeted for props before. He's now got 3 goals in the last 5 games, starting to heat up. I like Dylan Holloway as far as some value with him now on the second line for the Blues here tonight. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Tampa Bay, St. Louis.
I'm pretty heavy on Tampa here. I agree with what you mentioned about them kind of cutting down losing streaks pretty quickly. I don't think St. Louis, is A, near as good as the 2 teams they lost to, but B, just I think they're a very lower middle pack team in the league right now. There's nothing too flashy about them. Bennington isn't what he was in that playoff run. He's not a slack goalie. He's not, it's not like all on him or anything like that. I just don't think he's really playing outstanding. I think he's like 3-5 on the season so far this year. So I lean Tampa. I think they get it right. I'm not going to lay -170 on them on the road. I really like Alex's play there. I know some people in the chat mentioned that as well. That first period, how he's breaking it down with the correct scores. I think that's a really cool way to look at it. I think I'm going to keep it simple and just jump on that team total over 3.5. I'm seeing it at even money, I think. Asking Tampa to get to 4 goals in a game that they're trying to make things right, I don't think that's a big ask out of them, especially if we get one of those 2-0, 2-1, which are 2 of the options that Alex mentioned. So hopefully they get 2 in the first. His bet hits, and then we're halfway home for the team total. So I'm going to be on team total over 3.5.
Yeah, I'm on that, but as well. But I like even more. Like I said, I like the first period puck line plus 165 on that first period puck line. You want to hear a funny stat here? We talked about how St. Louis trailed after the first against Toronto, even though they won. Tampa Bay's only 2-2 in their last 4 games, but they have led after the first period in all 4 games. The Nashville overtime win, they had a lead after the first. The Colorado game, they had a lead after the first, and even in their 2 losses to Minnesota and Winnipeg, Tampa Bay led after the first period in both of those games. So another reason why I like the Lightning first period puck line. They've been good starters here, even in the games they lost over the last 2 against better teams, I might add, than the Blues. All right, next up, we've got the LA Kings taking on the Minnesota Wild. We've got Minnesota minus 160 to upwards of minus 180 now in some spots. The total in this one, 6 shaded to the under in this game. Minnesota keeps on rolling. Could only back Minnesota here, but especially with the Kings on the back-to-back. But I don't know. From a value meter standpoint, the value meter is pretty low as far as I'm concerned on Minnesota. We're back to Minnesota in that range again. Minus 180, where I don't love taking them when they're this kind of price. When they're laying a nice little number like they did against Toronto, or they're got a nice little price like they did against Tampa, I'm more interested. Minus 180, I'm not. But I don't want the Kings on a back-to-back against a team playing this well. So a rare game where I don't have a whole lot to say on it. Other than Rossi prop, worth a look. Gaudreau, Freddie Gaudreau, that is. He's been playing a little bit better lately. Now, Kaprizov did have that over 1.5 point streak snapped, but he had gone several games in a row over 1.5 points, multi-points this year. Does he get back to that tonight against a tired, fatigued LA Kings team playing the second night of back-to-backs? We'll see. But like I said, Fiala against is probably worth a look as well, Russell, because he's been heating up for the Kings, and also he gets to play his old team here, Minnesota, go back there. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Like I said, Minnesota lean, but I don't love the value. Alex, what do you think here? Kings, Wild.
Yeah, I definitely don't like this price with Minnesota. Don't like the spot for LA. And even with the goaltenders, you got Riddick going. Gustafson's been solid. I don't even like the draw on the spot. So this game's going to be a pass for me pregame. If I like anything, this will be one I'm watching. So I definitely will look for something in game. But as of now, nothing.
If you like Minnesota and you want to bet them, if you want to place a bet on Minnesota, and I certainly lean that way, team total over 3.5, I'm seeing plus 125. That's a pretty good price on that Wild team
fair.
total for them to hit 4. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Kings, Wild.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to bet against Minnesota at home, given LA on the back-to-back. But I don't like the price either. I'm not really sure on totals here. One thing I do like, if there's anyone that's going to be fresh legs in a back-to-back, it's young guys. They don't think about it as much. It doesn't affect them, especially early in the season. I'm going to take a shot with Alex Laferriere. He is in bargain bin. He is in bargain bin area. He's not going to be my bargain bin tonight. I think he's up to 8 goals already this season. He's on their first power play. It does look like he's dropping back to that third line with Byfield. It looks like they've put Turcotte back up on that first line, but plus 330 for a guy with 8 goals this early in the season. I think there's a lot of value there, and he is, he's my little brother's age. He's an 01, so the fatigue factor shouldn't be as big of a deal for him. So I like anytime goal. I'll probably take anytime goal, anytime point on him. Being on that first power play unit. If LA does chip away at all, I think he's going to be involved. So definitely lean Minnesota. Not going to lay this price. Could be a trap game where they sort of lay an egg. They've played really well. I'm not going to bet against them, but it could be one of those spots. So I'll probably just be on that prop or those 2 props, goal and point for Alex Laferriere.
All right, Alex Laferriere. And yes, he's been good, and he's definitely had some value of late for the Los Angeles Kings. So definitely no argument maybe taking a look as far as props for him in this game. All right, next up, we've got the Utah Hockey Club taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg minus 210, home favorites, 6 the total. What a start to the year for the Winnipeg Jets. It goes without saying. I don't think anybody had them 11-1 after their first 12 games, but here they are. And they are suddenly doing it with one of the best offensive teams statistically right now in the NHL. This team is popping in 4 goals or more now, 6 straight games, and in 8 of their last 9 games. They are now number 1 in the league in scoring, averaging 4.92 goals per game. Now, there's going to be some leveling off at some point. There's no question. But almost 5 goals per game. Wow. You talk about off-the-charts offensive production as a team. We're seeing that right now from the Jets. They have the number 1 power play in the NHL, and it's not even close. They are 10 percentage points higher than the second-ranked power play in the NHL, which is Colorado right now. Winnipeg is number 1 at almost 45% efficiency. Now, there's going to be some regression coming. You're not going to be 45% on the man advantage forever. There's no question about that. But right now, they're scoring, and until it changes, you got to run with it. They are the high-flying, high-scoring Jets. They are soaring right now, not only with their goal production, and it's everybody. Ehlers has been on fire. Hard to not look at props for him. Velarde stepping up. Scheif, Connor's been great, obviously. And they've got players that are capable down the lineup of coming through and chipping in, like Neil Pionk suddenly is scoring goals from the blue line. Morrissey's got 15 points. Perfetti, Niederreiter, Velarde, they all have 4 or 5 goals. Like I said, 8 goals, 17 points for Ehlers, 9 goals, 19 points for Connor, 7 goals, 16 assists for Scheifele. It really is everybody right now for the Winnipeg Jets chipping in for this team offensively. We'll see how this one plays out. Utah, by the way, I do want to point out with Winnipeg, their next game is at home against Colorado, which is, of course, the team that knocked them out. So can they maintain the focus here against Utah to take care of business? Utah off a 4-3 overtime loss to Vegas. One of those games where I thought they played pretty tough. Unbelievably, 5 of the last 10 games for Utah have gone past regulation. I think this is a game where Utah hangs with Winnipeg. They compete. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on plus 180, but I think it's one of those deals where with Winnipeg playing Colorado next, and Utah, I was impressed with their effort against Vegas on the road, a team that had been so good at home. I think we've got this situation here where Utah can hang in this game a little bit. I don't know about taking the plus 180, but what I will take is the draw in this game. Utah, 5 of the last 10 have gone past regulation, and I think we got the chance here to see this game maybe get ourselves into overtime or a shootout, and we get that kind of performance here from Utah. And remember, when Utah plays their best, and you haven't always seen it, but when you have, their offense can be pretty capable and pretty lethal. We'll see if that can be the case here tonight. So I lean Utah, but I like the draw even more. And more than anything, I like the over by Fecta here. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Winnipeg's turned into a little over machine right now, especially the first period overs. I think Winnipeg is on a consecutive game first period over streak. They're on a consecutive game over streak right now, 6 in a row. I'm pretty damn sure all of those games, except maybe one, also went over in the first period for the Winnipeg Jets as well. I'm just looking. The Seattle game didn't, but I think everything else did. Toronto, Winnipeg went over. And then the last 3 games that they played, Detroit, Columbus, and Tampa, all 3 of those games went over the first period. So over by Fecta and the draw. And I get the sneaking suspicion Utah's in this game. Don't know about winning it, but I think they're in this game here against Winnipeg. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Utah, Winnipeg.
I took a shot with the Jets team total over 3.5. I got minus 115 at Bet Online. Like you said, this has been the hottest offense in the league right now. And you got Utah going with Karel Vejmelka. We know it's the weaker of the 2 goalie options. They're skating with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen tonight. So, that's kind of just, things get discombobulated sometimes when you have that extra skater, when you deviate from the 12-6 setup sometimes, and you're managing your ice time a little differently. So I just think this could be a spot where, like I said, Utah could be live, and if they get their offense rolling, this could be kind of a track meet. So I'm just going with Jets over 3.5. This could easily be a 4-4 game if Utah can show up offensively. But like I said, Winnipeg's just been a wagon right now.
Yeah, both teams to score first. I might turn this, Russell, into an over trifecta, because I think this is the game where I could definitely see first period both teams to score. Vejmelka numbers aren't great, of course. 0-2, 89 save percentage, not what you want to see. Now, the reason he's getting this start is because I do think Connor Ingram needs a little bit of a rest. His numbers have taken a bit of a hit the last few games, but nevertheless, not exactly a goalie I'm trusting against this smoking hot Winnipeg offense. But I think Utah can score tonight, which is, again, why I think this game goes over the total. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Utah, Winnipeg.
I'm loving what I'm hearing because this is definitely a spot for the same game parlay. I feel really good about the first period, and with how Winnipeg's playing, I'd be shocked if they're involved in a game that doesn't hit the over at 5.5. So I'm going to keep it simple. Just go with the Matty Rob special and take the same game parlay on this one.
And by the way, we should probably going to see Connor Hellebuck in net. I believe it has been confirmed it will be him. So that's what we're looking at for Winnipeg here in this one as well from a goal. Yeah, Hellebuck in net for the Winnipeg Jets. All right, we move along to Seattle and Colorado. Colorado minus 180, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. This is not going to be popular because Seattle's been shut out in their last 2 games. Who the hell wants to back the Kraken here? This is more about Colorado with this patchwork lineup, minus 180 to me. I mean, I know they've found ways to gut it out, and they're doing the best they can with all these injuries, obviously. But the fact remains, you're talking about a Colorado team that's still banged up. Wood, Colton, Drouin. Although Nichushkin is skating with the team, his return might be imminent. Going to give him his 584th chance to not screw up, I guess, this Colorado team. But one bit of good news for Colorado is Arturi Lehkonen will be back, and naturally he will take that spot with McKinnon and Rantanen. He has played with both of those guys on the top line many times in the past, so that will certainly help going into this game for the Colorado Avalanche, and he will help for sure, but still talking about a team that's still missing a lot of key parts up front. Justus Onanen in the net, we'll see how he fares. He's obviously been the best of what Colorado's got right now in net. Philip Grubauer against his old team, I think that kind of matters a little bit. You know, that even though he's had a up and down, bumpy ride of a season so far, he'll want to play well against his former team, the Colorado Avalanche. As good as Onanen's been, he's been better than certainly the other goalies on this team, whether it's Kaapo Kakkonen or certainly Georgiev. Onanen, the last 2 games, he's given up 7 goals all of a sudden. So let's keep that in mind. A little bit of a downfall for him the last 2 games, not playing nearly as well as he did, obviously, in the games before that. I just feel in this spot, Colorado's still too inconsistent and banged up, that combo. Seattle got to be absolutely seething about getting shut out in back-to-back games. And there's still some history with these 2 teams. I mean, Seattle and Colorado in the postseason a couple of years ago, they showed they could play with Colorado. And it's been one of those series as well where Colorado has had success in Seattle, but we've seen Seattle have some success in Colorado. You know, let's not forget a couple years ago in the playoffs, Seattle won a Game 7 in Colorado. Last year, the only meeting between these teams in Colorado was a 4-3 win for the Kraken, getting a similar type of price as they are getting right here tonight. So I'm taking a shot here. Give me the Kraken. Release the Kraken plus 160. Just a little overvalued still with all the injuries and overpriced, in my opinion. This is a system play as well with Seattle, again, off a shutout loss. So, of course, I am back on the first period over and full game over in this game as well. Alex, Seattle, Colorado.
Yeah, so I kind of, hinted this, leading off the show, talking about how now we have a situation where Seattle back-to-back shutouts. Now we get to see how they respond. Now, of course, the first period over cashed in their last game with Boston, but the full game didn't. And I'm a little leery on the full game here because, like I said, Seattle obviously not getting their offense rolling. And, we thought this was going to be this team that would be playing more consistently offensively, talked about the pace increase with Bausma and Campbell coming in. That hasn't really taken hold and been consistent longer than a couple of games. So now you're going up against a Colorado team that's been struggling mightily defensively. They don't really have the offensive horses with everybody banged up. So we're riding with the first period over here in the system play, but I am not on this full game over. Now, if I see the pace increase and maybe we don't get any goals, but the pace is there and that number drops at a 6 or a 5.5, I might be willing to take a shot. But just as of right now, off current form and just with all the injuries of Colorado, if it wasn't for the system, I wouldn't even be on this first period over. So this is just kind of following the system on the first period over. But if this system wasn't around, this would probably be a game I'm completely passing because I don't like Colorado's form and Seattle. Like I said, I need to see more consistently from them as far as scoring goals.
Yeah, like I said, look, both teams are struggling. Seattle's been shut out in back-to-back games, but the point I'm making and why I like Seattle here is, we're putting Colorado out there at minus 180 when they're still they do. Lehkonen being back does help, but it's still a crazy price. They're still the Colton. Don't underestimate Colton and Wood. Those two guys were playing really well for Colorado before they got injured. They're still banged up front. Onanen has kind of regressed the last 2 games. They've lost 3 in a row. Chicago went in there and beat them. The Blackhawks, Blackhawks went into Denver and beat the Colorado Avalanche. So to me, this is just overpriced Colorado, given the situation, given the struggles, given the injuries. It's not like this is a ringing endorsement for me of Seattle. This is more Colorado at this price, and Seattle beat them last year in Colorado, and Seattle's probably going to bring a heck of an effort. Whether it's enough's a question. But I think there's more than enough reasons that Seattle could be live here tonight, especially at this price. Matt, anything for you here? Kraken, Avs.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this is the last one of the card. But I'm going to do the same game parlay here because I know the first period is a system play. I do agree with Alex. 6.5 kind of scares me, but I feel like asking for them to get over 5.5, it's got a shot. I think, if Seattle takes a few penalties, obviously Colorado, their power play is still dangerous. I think it could be a 3-2 type of games. Maybe Seattle's up 3-2 and then we get an empty net. Obviously that would cause me to hit. But yeah, just given that I really feel good about the first period, I feel less good about the full game, but I like it at 5.5. If it was a 5.5, I feel like it would be worth a good look. So combining those should be able to get it still in the plus 110, plus 120 range when you put them together. I like that for this game, but yeah, I think that's going to be it for me. I don't want to say I lean Seattle. I believe in Seattle. There is obviously some value there, but it's just hard for me to bet against Colorado at home. I know you mentioned Chicago went in and beat Colorado. They've been playing some decent hockey lately, so I don't want to discredit Chicago there. But I just think Colorado at home, let's say they get 2 power plays in the first 10 minutes and score on both of them. Sometimes they just run away with those types of games. So Seattle's just not scary enough for me to back them. I like this price, so I see value there, but I'll probably just be on the SGP for this one.
All right, just the SGP here for Matt with Seattle and Colorado. As far as, like I say, tread lightly with Seattle props because they're off 2 shutouts. But if you're going to look towards someone, I like Burakovsky against his old team. I like that angle for him maybe to get going. Find the back of the net here. Beniers and Burakovsky. I like Tolvanen, I've mentioned as well for Seattle. For Colorado, look, I do like Lehkonen. I know it's his first game back. He may need some time to get up to game speed. But certainly with McKinnon and Rantanen, it's a natural fit. He's played with them a bunch of times. Kiviranta, there's probably value still with Middlestat and O'Connor on the second line as well for Colorado. So there's a prop I would look at. And here's one I would really look at too. He's on a 12-game point streak. He's had some issues defensively at times, but his offensive game is humming right now. 12-game point streak coming into tonight, and he's actually scored in back-to-back games for Colorado. Cale Makar from the blue line. He has really been picking it up at that end of the ice and shooting the puck more. Like I said, goals in back-to-back games for Cale Makar as well. I think his goal prop, is worth a look as well tonight. And one of my props I like quite a bit there. Getting a nice price with Cale Makar upwards of plus 350 coming off games where he has scored in back-to-back games for the Avs. All right, next up, we've got Vancouver and Anaheim. Vancouver Canucks currently minus 250, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. You know what? There's not a lot to say for me about this game other than I think Vancouver wins this game. They've been great on the road, and they were good on the road under Rick Tocchet last year as well. And here they are this year, 4-1. In 5 road games this year for the Canucks. They got back on track after the shutout loss to New Jersey with a 3-2 win against San Jose. That's exactly what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to sprinkle on here? Give me correct score, 3-2 Vancouver in this game. I'm going to sprinkle on it. They won in last year in Vancouver. You know what? 2-1 could be a final score too, because they won in Anaheim 2-1 in March, and I believe Dostal was in net that night. Dostal's already been confirmed tonight. That's what I'm going to bet here in this game because there's nothing I like as far as money line or total or even the draw. I don't love it. Vancouver's owned this team. They've won 7 in a row against the Ducks. And I just feel it could be one of these deals where Dostal's playing well enough to keep this team hanging around in this hockey game, but Vancouver pulls out a 1-goal victory. So I'm going to do a couple small sprinkles, just some recreational action here. Vancouver, Anaheim, correct score. Vancouver 2-1, Vancouver 3-2 here in this game against the Anaheim Ducks in this one. They played well on the road. They've won 7 straight against Anaheim, and Anaheim is just not scoring right now, which is kind of surprising because of who they've got up front now. When you've got Carlson a second year, Gauthier still. The more I watch Gauthier, I wonder if I'm at the point now. Is he ready for the NHL? I'm not impressed. 4 assists, 4 points, 11 games, still hasn't scored yet for the Anaheim Ducks. So there's issues with them as far as offensively, and they're still giving up way too many shots, way too much rubber. And Dostal has been phenomenal. I shudder to think where the team would be without Dostal because he has been just magnificent. But they are forcing this poor guy every single night to face 45 shots, 41 shots, 34 shots. They actually did a better job finally against Chicago. Only gave up 29 shots in that game. But you've got to limit the amount of rubber he's seeing because you worry about wearing him out. As good as this kid is going to be, and I think he already is, you don't want to wear him down to this kind of degree. So there's nothing for me here other than I'm going to sprinkle on a couple correct score props, as mentioned. Canucks 2-1, Canucks 3-2. Alex, what do you think here? Canucks, Ducks.
All right, well, I was passing this game, but now I'm curious because you're talking about these correct scores, which is something I do enjoy. You can get correct score, Vancouver 2-1, 17-1, 3-2 at 10-1. Those are available at FanDuel. Now, that's including overtime. Now, if you want to get a little bolder and go 60-minute correct score, you can go Vancouver 2-1 plus 2,700, Vancouver 3-2 plus 2,100, which means you could also grab a 1-1 tie at plus 2,600 and a 2-2 tie at 12-1. So if you want to diversify it a little bit, you can get a little creative with that. So it's not a bad look.
6 straight unders, by the way, for Vancouver versus Anaheim, just in case anyone's wondering. In the series, 6 straight have gone under with these two teams. What do you think here, Matt? Vancouver, Anaheim.
I like those ideas. I just think this is going to be a pass game for me. Obviously, lean Vancouver, not near enough to lay minus 250 right now. Could the Ducks win? Sure. Obviously, good value there, but I'm definitely not backing them right now in current form. So it'll just be a straight pass. I lean under, but I don't really take unders. I'd really rather just not bet on the game, especially when there's an 11-game card. So this is just a straight pass for me.
So I mentioned Vancouver's beaten Anaheim 7 straight times. 5 of the last 6 games, 5 of the last 6 wins for Vancouver against Anaheim has either been a 3-2 or a 2-1 Vancouver win. How about that? So that's another reason why I think, look, this has got a shot tonight, folks. Either a 2-1 Vancouver win or a 3-2 Vancouver win. Again, 5 of Vancouver's last 6 wins versus Anaheim have been either a 3-2 or a 2-1 Vancouver victory. So I think this does have a real shot that one of these can hit these correct scores. At again, 10-1, 17-1. Pretty good prices there. Again, just dabble in it. And if one of them does cash, it's obviously a nice little boost. There's no question. All right, we move along to the last game of the night. Believe it or not, there's some intrigue to this game. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the San Jose Sharks. We've got Columbus minus 130 road favorites. The total here, 6.5, shaded to the under in this game. Return of the Mac. It is return of the Mac. Macklin Celebrini is back tonight for the San Jose Sharks. And a welcome sight indeed. He gets hurt, obviously, after the first game against St. Louis. We saw what he did in the first period against the St. Louis Blues. He factors in on multiple goals, gets his first NHL goal in his first game, and certainly will be a shot in the arm for the San Jose Sharks, particularly offensively. Coming off, a hard-fought 3-2 loss against Vancouver. It was a pretty even hockey game. Respectable effort from the Sharks, but a loss that snapped their mini little 3-game win streak on Saturday. We'll see if they can bounce back here tonight against Columbus. They're certainly going to be excited to have Macklin Celebrini back in the fold and on the ice making his return from injury here for this game. Vitek Vanacek and Elvis Merzlikins already have been confirmed as the goaltenders here tonight in this game. But Macklin Celebrini looks like he's going to take his spot, centering Tyler Toffoli and Michael Granlund on the top line. Eklund, Wenberg, Zetterlund is going to be your second line. Goodrow, Smith, and Will Smith, who's actually started to percolate here the last couple of games, the other first-round pick in their lineup. He's on the third line still. Columbus getting absolutely crushed by the Washington Capitals 7-2 on Saturday. That was a brutal scheduling spot for this Columbus team. You get whipped by Winnipeg. You get whipped by Washington 7-2. We'll see how they fare here tonight, going all the way now to the West Coast and starting this road trip against the San Jose Sharks. Now, Columbus has owned this series. 5 of the last 6 meetings they have won versus the San Jose Sharks, including both meetings last year. 4-3 in San Jose, 4-2 at home against the Sharks. Now, the games in San Jose have been high scoring, and now you factor in Macklin Celebrini back. That certainly gives pop to the Sharks at the offensive end of the ice. Make no mistake about it. This is an over by Fecta for me. Over 1.5, over 6.5. You have to upgrade San Jose's offense with Macklin Celebrini back. There's no doubt. I know it's a 1-game sample size, but already you're seeing the skills he showed in that first game against the Blues. We've started to see the Jackets kind of have their defensive warts reappear again, and you never know what you're going to get from the Tarasov Merzlikins combination in net. They've given up 13 in their last 2 games. They've been an over machine. 5 of the last 6 have gone over the total. So over by Fecta. I lean San Jose a little bit, but let's see how it fits. And I don't love betting against Columbus off a blowout like that, 7-2 against Washington. I think they'll play hard tonight, and they've certainly got a chance to win. So I'm off the side. I lean Sharks, but I like the over by Fecta. That's what I'm going to get involved with here more than anything. Alex, final game. What do you think here? Blue Jackets, Sharks.
Yeah, only thing I'm rolling with here is the draw. I grabbed plus 350. I think this could be kind of a close back and forth battle. Like I said, Celebrini being back in the lineup for the Sharks will obviously be huge. But like I said, guys like Will Smith and others have been picking it up. They were getting those wins. So this is a feisty kind of competitive San Jose team, but Columbus has played them tough. So definitely they can go back and forth and take a little longer than 60 minutes to find a winner.
Going to be, and plus now you're not getting the San Jose's obviously won 3 of the last 4. I like the way it sets up for them tonight with Celebrini back, but plus 110 on this San Jose team, that's not the value I want. It's another reason why I'm passing on taking them. And again, Columbus just got steamrolled 2 games in a row against Winnipeg and against Washington, Winnipeg and Washington. So you got to think Columbus is going to play hard and look to atone for that here tonight. Not to mention they have won 5 of the last 6 versus San Jose. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Columbus, San Jose.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fast start given that Celebrini's back, so I'm definitely going to jump on the first period over. I may wait for a live in-game over. And again, this isn't my bargain bet, but I think I'm going to jump on Celebrini first goal scorer, see if he comes back with a bang. I think I see it at like plus 1,200. I'm sure there's better prices out there, but nothing big, small units, breakfast burrito money, beer money, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of hype of him coming back. It is in San Jose. Why not take a shot, see if he scores one in the first period. But yeah, overall, first period over is what I love the most in this game because I will think that'll give San Jose a jump. And I think Columbus is going to come out, and want to score and kind of quiet the crowd a little bit. Not that it's been too intense during the week there in San Jose to start the year, but I do think with Celebrini back in, that place will be rocking and rolling a bit. So Columbus will want to shut that down. So first period over on this one is my big play, but then I'm going to take a shot with Celebrini first period goal or first goal of the game. Sorry.
Hey, he's played in 1 game, Macklin Celebrini for the Sharks, and he scored the first goal in it. So why not? Yeah. He's 1-0 in his career, scoring the first goal of an NHL game. Yeah,
can't bet against the streak, so it's undefeated. So gotta let him prove us wrong first, and then I'll stop betting. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, look, obviously small sample size. The smallest of sample sizes, he's only played 1 game, and of course he gets hurt after that St. Louis season opener, but he scores the first goal in that game. So why not? Why not take a shot there with the Mac attack? Macklin Celebrini, first goal for Matt. Going to take a shot with that here in this game. And like I said, it's exciting to see him back because I know it was just such a brief moment, but in that first game, he was all over the ice. He made impact plays all over. A multi-point game in his first NHL game. It's very, very impressive. Goal and an assist. It was a goal and assist in the first period, by the way, of that game against St. Louis. So it'll be fun to see him back in there for sure, and excited to see how this one goes. As far as props, we've talked about Monahan quite a bit with Shinnikov and Marchenko. That's been good value. I think Fantilli steps up and makes an impact tonight because he knows, look, there's another number 1 overall pick or top 5 pick on the other side. I want to put my name out there too and show what I can do. So Fantilli props might be worth a shot tonight. And like I said, with San Jose, you can exchange anyone on the top 6. Those have been the guys doing, and maybe Smith on the third line, because Will Smith, he's been getting jiggy with it here the last few games, playing a little bit better for the San Jose Sharks. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. Appreciate it very much. And a reminder, if you're not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Get to patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Again, you get goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, the daily card, sides, totals, and player props posted each and every day. Patreon.com/iceguys. And again, your subscription helps support the show. $10 per month. Check it out. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Yes, also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got everything in stock. We've also got a sale coming up this weekend for Veterans Day, so definitely check that out. So, browse around, see what things you like, put it in your cart, and just let it sit there for a few days. And then when that coupon code becomes active, we will let you guys know, and then you can make sure to save when you shop as well. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, great stuff. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgater Sofa. And a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great Ice Guys sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. 20% off using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special and Best Bets coming up in a moment, but we are going to talk just briefly about some election betting on this historic night, this big night. All jokes aside, I know on Twitter X I said it's a historic night in the United States, huge night, one of the nights we've all been waiting for. And I said, ha, 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 college football action is back here tonight. Pulled everyone's leg with that. But no, in all seriousness, look, this has been a very polarizing election going on right now south of the border. All I will say from a betting standpoint is if you were savvy enough to read the market, you could have gotten plus money on Kamala and Donald Trump at one point. Very good plus prices, in fact, on both of them. This could have been we're living in an arbitrage paradise. That's what this would have been for you if you had been smart enough to read the market and get on the highest value point for either candidate, quite honestly, because there was a time, especially after the debate, one of the Trump debates where he kind of didn't perform well in a lot of people's eyes. It was slanted because ABC kind of didn't grill him very well, or fact check him too much, or fact check Kamala, I should say, too much. And then perception, and then Kamala got the push at that point. And you could have got probably a little bit of a plus price then with Donald. And now all of a sudden there's been this big momentum to Trump here from what I've heard and seen the last, couple weeks. And now all of a sudden Trump is a decent favorite, and now Kamala is a plus price underdog. So like I said, if you were smart enough to read the market or on top of it, you could have gotten plus money with Trump and Kamala Harris at one point during this election run. So it's just depending on if you were right on top of it, you could have had plus money in your pocket on both sides here of this election here tonight. But Alex, I know you have a couple things you want to talk about with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about, like I said, when you're looking at election betting, and like I said, these are markets that are consistently fluid throughout the entire run of the campaigns and so forth. And obviously, we had changes of where it was supposed to be Biden, and then of course Kamala being the Democratic nominee. What you can do on election night is exactly the same thing. You'll be able to find swings where you can put plus money in your pocket for either candidate, because of the fact that the biggest market to take action on this, of course, none of the American books. There's no FanDuel or MGM. This is all offshore Europe. So Bet Online is your best option here in the States. They do a wonderful job. They have numbers of options. But you'll be able to get plus money on both sides throughout the night. And I know I've done this in 2016 and 2020 because of the fact that the European voters, they don't, or the European bettors, I should say, they don't understand how we count our votes. I don't know why they don't get this, but because we have not only the Electoral College, but because of when polls close, 7 p.m., between 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in different areas. So you have numbers that come in staggered throughout the entire night. So you can follow any channel you watch, be it CNN, be it Fox News, be it MSNBC, and if you're watching those numbers moving one side or another as votes come in from certain states, then you can go and attack those numbers live, and you'll be able to find plus money. I guarantee you should be able to find plus money on both sides tonight at some point, because the swings, we're not talking about balancing on 115, 120. We're talking, you'll see something where right now, if you were to bet right now, it's Kamala plus 150, Trump minus 175. You could easily see it flip all the way to where all of a sudden now it's Trump plus 160 and Kamala minus 180. It does some extreme flips. So this is great sharpening for a live betting strategy. You don't see this in any sport. You'll only see this in an election going back and forth. So whatever side you're actually voting on, just from a financial standpoint, you should be able to get plus money with whomever you're backing throughout the evening.
Public perception, and in this case, the television networks feeding you the election results live as they unfold, is going to allow you probably to get maybe plus money, as you said, on both sides.
One more thing too, keep in mind, with the fact that there is voting, via mail, they have to count all these votes. We're not going to find out who wins the election tonight. We're not going to find out who wins the election tomorrow either. This probably will take a few days. It won't take as long as it did, hopefully, when it was 2020. People didn't get paid out until damn near Christmas time. If you had Joe Biden, your Joe Biden tickets that weren't cashed in anywhere in November or early December. It was very late in December, or some people even into the next year. So that being said, keep in mind too that if you are live betting this, the results not coming in tonight, so your money will be tied up a little bit as well too. So it's weird. There's live betting, but it's also kind of a futures hold for at least a couple of days until they give the official election results. So do keep that in mind as far as your bankroll is concerned.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, the swings, and now I remember where the swing against Trump happened a couple months ago. It was that debate that he had where he's talking about eating the pets. And I don't care what the situation is, but they're eating the pets, they're eating the dogs. It's a bad look. And people are going to look at that and said, what? And then all of a sudden, right after that debate, they poured in the money on Kamala. And that's when she became the favorite. Donald Trump became a bit of an underdog. But now, as we're getting closer to election day, people are starting to see, well, Kamala can't answer a simple question in some of these, forums that she's in, and can't give you anything really of substance. And all of a sudden people are saying that, and we're going to vote for her. And now all of a sudden there's been some movement to Trump as we get closer to the election day. So it's, again, public perception. And it's funny how things come out with video clips and interview clips and all this stuff, and certainly debate moments. And suddenly, whoa, there's a push against one of these candidates for something said in a debate. Whoa, there's a push against another candidate for something that's happened just now publicly in a town hall situation or something along those lines. It's just amazing how a certain moment in time or an event involving one of these candidates just pushes public perception in one particular direction. And that's
It
where
is.
you can profit, believe it or not, from betting this.
And that's the thing too, because but that public perception you're talking about is mostly generated, and obviously, if it's regurgitated through any news item, it's American perception. So that's what makes the betting part so fascinating, because this is not just all American money. This is European money, and the majority of the large bets you'll see from any offshore book that are coming in on any side within the presidential election, it is not American money. It is most often European money. So the money swings of the line, the betting, to get back to more of a betting talk, is European influence, where the public perception and just general information way of betting is influenced from here in America. So it makes it it's fascinating stuff when we're talking about just numbers and odds.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, it's a fascinating night. I see our chat already getting fired up. I knew it would. The moment Alex said he wanted to talk a little bit about the process of betting the election.
From a betting perspective. Now we can all shut the fuck up in the chat and we get back to hockey, because we're doing best bets and bargain. So let's calm it down in the chat.
Yeah, that's basically the end of the political discussion on this show for maybe the rest of our life.
For 4 years.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. Let's get to it for this Tuesday. Alex, what do you like in the bargain bin?
We're gonna, on an American election night, we're going to go Canadian with the bargain bin pick. We're going with Kirby Dach, moving up to the top line for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going up against the Calgary Flames. Like I said, we like the Habs as a home dog. I do think that's a great play, but I think Dach, he needs to get things rolling. I think this could be one of those games. All right, moving up to the top line. I know he's supposed to be the great face-off guy and that, kind of playmaker, but I think he needs to just, get one yourself. Help your team out. Get a puck in the back of the net there. Plus 370 at FanDuel. I like Kirby Dach to get an anytime goal here as my bargain bin special on this Tuesday night.
All right, there we go. Kirby Dach, Montreal Canadiens for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. Matt, what do you like here in the bargain bin tonight?
Yeah, so we're going to that Toronto-Boston game. You sort of mentioned him. I actually had him written down before you said anything. He is on that top line. He's struggled this year. He's yet to score. Give me Max Domi anytime goal tonight. I think he chips in. He's more than due, and he's getting that opportunity with that top line. That's my bargain bin. I'm actually going to take it a step further and bet Domi 2 points tonight, because I think there's a chance, maybe he gets 2 or 3 assists, doesn't find the back of the net, but has a great momentum game. That's also plus 600. But my true bargain bin, I think Domi finds the back of the net. It's going to be a greasy goal like always. He'll probably have his helmet knocked off in the process, but Max Domi anytime goal tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right, Max Domi plus 475 up to the top line, taking the spot of Austin Matthews, who's out tonight due to injury. So there you go. I like it. Domi plus 475 for the Toronto Maple Leafs for bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, I mentioned him in the Seattle-Colorado game. I'm going to go to Cale Makar for the Avs at plus 350 at Bet365. 2 games in a row with a goal, shooting the puck a lot. I think because of the injuries, he kind of feels like, hey, I've got to take a little more ownership offensively because of who we've had out of the lineup. And like I said, goals in back-to-back games, pretty good price. Plus 350, Cale Makar for me. Colorado Avalanche for bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for this Tuesday. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, we'll head it down to Raleigh, North Carolina. Got the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, and we're running with that system play. First period over 1.5. You can get that. I have minus 130 still available at FanDuel and a couple other shops. We don't trust that goaltending with Philly, and this just feels like it could be one of those good spots where we get some back and forth action early in the contest. Carolina's been red hot, especially at home. So Flyers, Canes, first period over 1.5, minus 130. My Tuesday best bet.
There you go. Flyers, Canes for Alex B. Smith over 1.5 first period for best bet. Matt, what do you like here? Best bet.
I am going to go to Winnipeg, that Winnipeg-Utah game. As you mentioned, Winnipeg is scoring in bunches, and I think this could be a spot Utah puts up some sort of a fight. So I'm going to take the first period over in Utah and Winnipeg. Don't care how it happens. If Winnipeg keeps rolling and it's 2-0, boom, we hit. If it's 1-1, if Utah comes out and shocks the world and they're up 2-0, we got to hit as well. So all we need is 2. Don't care how. Utah, Winnipeg, first period over. That's my best bet tonight.
There you go. Utah, I like it. It will be on my card as well. Utah, Winnipeg, first period over with the Hockey Club and the Jets. best bet for Matt Robinson for this Tuesday card. My best bet, and I teased it long enough, it is a very rare player prop best bet for me for this Tuesday night. He got benched in the third. I expect him to be better tonight. He has feasted on the Toronto Maple. Even though I think Toronto could win this game, I think he gets on the board against the Leafs yet again. David Pastrnak, plus 135 to score a goal tonight for the Boston Bruins. Like this situation, the one thing we've seen from Pastrnak in the past, that when he has had these little riffs with Montgomery, he's responded the right way. I think he will here tonight as well. So David Pastrnak to score a goal, plus 135. My best bet here. A rare player prop best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. Very much appreciate it. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys.